This is a true, horrifying experience from my childhood. I must have been 8, maybe 9 years old. But what happened to us is something I can never forget. These events happened in 2 different houses we lived in, one right after the other. The first was a 2-story house in a small town, somewhat far from the city. The house was built entirely of brick and ceramic tile, which made the interior feel colder and more chilling than it should have been. It wasn't an old, creepy house like the ones we see in horror movies. It was newly built. But I still remember the rooftop was unfinished. There were half-built foundation pillars with a metal bar sticking out, a pile of cement in the corner, and concrete pillars covered in algae. A staircase made of raw ceramic tiles led from the 2nd floor up to the rooftop. The living area downstairs was clean and well built. There was a master bedroom where my parents slept. Upstairs, my grandma, my sister, and I shared a room. The house faced west. We had no neighbors to the north, just an empty field. To the south lived a middle-aged couple with a newborn baby. They owned a small convenience store and usually left the house between 4 and 5 a.m. to open every morning. The houses were close together, so each morning we could hear the couple getting ready for their shop. The noises weren't too loud, but still audible enough to wake even my 9-year-old self. At first, everything was normal, except for the constant chill inside the house. A few months after moving in, my whole family started to get sick. Not just one of us, but all of us, one after the other. The illnesses would rotate around the family and never completely went away. And then the morning noises from the neighbors started to change. Every day the sounds seemed louder and closer. It was as if something was happening right above our heads while we were sleeping. The noise was strange, like clay pots crashing or heavy objects slamming to the ground. But every time we heard it and looked outside, the couple next door was leaving their home, so we assumed it was just them. One early morning, I was jolted awake by a loud bang, right above my head. It sounded like a pile of ceramic plates crashing onto the floor. I sat up quickly and saw my grandma already awake, sitting upright in bed. Her head was turned toward the mosquito net, and she called out to someone, thinking it was my mom. I looked over and saw a woman's silhouette standing outside the net. I couldn't see her face, but I could tell it was a woman from her shape, dimly outlined by the early dawn light. While we stared at her, she slowly reached up and wrapped a towel or cloth around her neck. Then, she adjusted her longi, a traditional garment worn in our country. And just like that, she turned and disappeared into the shadows. My grandma turned to me and said it was probably my mom sleepwalking. I wasn't sure, but I accepted it. There was nothing to talk about, so we moved on. The next morning, I wasn't sure if the neighbors opened their store or not. I didn't hear the usual noise. Maybe I had just slept through it. Later, my sister and I went out for breakfast and passed by their store. The couple was there, as usual. Even as a kid, I was a light sleeper. Even soft footsteps would wake me up. So I was a bit unsettled about what I'd seen, especially because my grandma insisted it was just my mother. The following morning, I got up early to get ready for school. Before I reached the bottom of the stairs, I heard my grandma and mom talking. Their voices weren't loud, but I could clearly hear them. My grandma said she hadn't seen or heard anything strange since that night. My mom agreed. Then she added, very clearly, that she hadn't gotten up that night at all. My grandma said she had prayed for whatever it was. I froze. Goosebumps ran all over my body. What did I see that morning? They saw me standing there, listening. My grandma tried to reassure me, saying it was just a peaceful spirit who needed prayers so she could move on. They didn't want me to be afraid, but what we discovered later chilled me to my core. Weeks later, my parents were chatting with the neighbors. During the conversation, they learned that a female construction worker had died while working on the house. She had fallen from the 3rd floor during construction and died instantly. My grandma said that maybe she didn't realize she had died, that her spirit remained, bound to her duty. Without the proper prayers, she believed she still had a job to finish. That was when we realized. The noises we heard in the mornings weren't from the neighbors. It was the sound of a metal bowl of cement being slammed on the rooftop floor, the kind used by construction workers. It was her. The woman who never knew she was dead. The woman who never stopped working. When we moved into the second house, I felt right away that it was older than the last one. It was surrounded by towering mango trees, their dense canopies blotting out the sun in places. There were 9 in total, 3 looming in the front, 3 watching over the right side, 2 on the left, and 1 standing alone in the back, like a quiet sentinel. Behind the house, next to that lone mango tree, stood an old, overgrown papaya tree, its branches twisting like gnarled fingers. The house itself was made of brick, its surface coated with a thin layer of parging. In some places, the parging was so aged that it had cracked and peeled away, exposing the bare brick beneath. If you brushed your fingers against the wall, pieces would crumble into your palm. A waist-high brick fence surrounded the property. It was old, crumbling in spots, its surface slick with green algae that thrived in the shade. This was a corner house, no neighbors behind us, only silence. And to the left, an abandoned wooden house surrounded by tall wild grasses, its windows dark and hollow, as if something might be standing just inside. Drainage ditches wrapped around the house, in the front, behind, and along the right side just outside the fence. In the rainy season, they would fill with stagnant, murky water, reflecting the black shapes of the trees overhead. And when the wind was still, the water stayed perfectly still too, almost as if it was waiting. So we moved in. Everything seemed normal at first. But I'll be honest, I never liked the way it looked, especially at night. The place already felt heavy. The outside alone gave me chills. From the very beginning, we'd sometimes hear noises up on the ceiling during the day. It sounded like animals running or scratching, and we always told ourselves, yeah, it's probably just rats or squirrels. We didn't want to overthink it. Then one night, there was this crazy storm. My dad wasn't home. He worked away for months at a time, so it was just my grandma, my mom, my sister, and me. That night, the sound of the mango tree branches scraping against the roof made everything worse. The next morning, we saw that the old papaya tree in the back had collapsed, bringing part of the brick fence down into the drainage ditch. After that day, things changed. The noises on the ceiling didn't just come back, they got louder, more regular, especially at night. My sister, being stubborn, once took a broomstick and poked at the ceiling. The creepy part? Something banged back. And then there were the knocks. Late at night, around 9 or 10, we'd hear knocking at the front door. We'd peek through the cracks. Nothing. Sometimes we even opened the door, but there was never anyone there, just silence. That week felt endless. My grandma started praying more often, saying something wasn't right. My sister and I stayed glued to her side every night. We couldn't leave. The house was under contract, so we had no choice but to stay. One weekend, we visited my grandma's house downtown. She and my sister decided to stay overnight, so my mom and I came back to our place alone in the afternoon. I remember walking straight to the water cooler when we got in. That's when I froze. A huge snake was standing upright, half its body lifted off the ground, hissing at me. Then it lunged. I panicked, screaming, and ran toward the back door. There was a storage room right next to it, and as I fumbled with the lock, I thought for sure I was going to die if the snake reached me first. But then, for some reason, it veered into the storage room instead of attacking me. I was frozen in place. My mom rushed over with the broomstick, opened the back door in case the snake came out, and then slowly searched the storage room. But here's the thing, we never found it. We moved everything out, checked every corner. Nothing. There was no snake in there at all. Around that same time, a new pagoda had just been built near the entrance of our county. It was beautiful, massive, all white marble, and everyone wanted to see it. But before the pagoda, that land had been a centuries-old cemetery. People in the neighborhood whispered about how the graves were moved. Supposedly, when officials relocated the cemetery, they told each spirit, "Get in the truck. We're giving you a new place." And folks swore the trucks grew heavier and heavier, as if the spirits were climbing in like real passengers. My grandma said those souls still thought they were alive, that they needed to be treated like humans. Whether that's true or not, I'll let you decide. But it connects to what happened next. My sister, who was in high school back then, was outgoing and curious. She went with her friends to see the new pagoda. That night, when she came home, she wasn't herself. She was burning up with a fever, her body hot to the touch. Not long after, she sat upright, eyes closed, mouth half open, and started mumbling in a voice that didn't sound like hers. "They're coming. They're coming for me. I have to go." She tried to get up, shaking, like she was fighting my mom off. My grandma quickly grabbed holy water and malice beads. When she sprinkled the water and put the beads on my sister screamed, "Don't touch me! It's so hot! I don't like it!" Her face twisted in anger, and she struggled violently. I swear, it was like watching a horror movie right in front of me. Finally, my grandma forced the beads around her neck, and just like that, my sister collapsed, unconscious, as if she'd just fallen asleep. Later, she woke up as if nothing had happened, still weak with fever, but no memory of what just took place. That night, my mom told my grandma not to sleep close to my sister because she was sick. She worried it might spread to my grandma since she was older. So instead, my mom, my grandma, and I all shared a bed together next to her bed. I slept in the middle, my grandma on the right, and my mom on the left. Around midnight, I woke to the sound of groaning. It was coming from right outside the mosquito net. When I looked up, I saw my sister kneeling there. Her eyes were wide open, filled with anger, and the sound she was making, it wasn't her voice. Before we could react, she flipped open the net and started hitting my grandma's face, screaming, "Why did you leave me alone?" She tried to sit on my grandma's chest, but luckily, my grandma dodged. My mom and grandma managed to hold her down and force the beads onto her again. After a moment of violent struggling, she passed out once more. When she woke again later, she asked, "What happened?" Like nothing had happened at all. The next day, she was feeling better. When we asked if she remembered anything, she said she only recalled waking up alone in her mosquito net and feeling scared. She said she tried to come sleep with us, but after stepping out, she fainted, and that's all she knew. We didn't even know what to say. But that night, it got worse. The knocking on the front door came again, louder, constant. The banging on the ceiling wouldn't stop either. It was terrifying. We couldn't take it anymore. That night, we gave up and went to sleep at a neighbor's house instead. And that was the last night we ever spent in that house. The next day, we moved into our grandma's house. Looking back, I still don't know what was real and what wasn't. But I know what I saw, and I know what I felt, and those memories will never leave me. So that's the end of this story. What do you think really happened? Was it the spirits from the old cemetery, or was it from the house itself, or something else entirely? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you've ever experienced something like this, I'd love to hear your story too. Thank you so much for listening to the end.